Next on Currents News, Archbishop Carlo Viganò, who called on Pope Francis to resign over the handling of the McCarrick sexual abuse scandal, is criticizing the Holy Father again. A migrant caravan on the road to the United States is growing a lot bigger, and President Trump has a lot to say about it. New video reveals some elaborate planning in the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Saudi Arabia's rulers say it was a tremendous mistake. Plus, an up-close profile of a rising star of the Brooklyn Diocese, a businesswoman honored for fulfilling the Catholic Migration Service's mission of welcoming the stranger. The news starts right now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Liz Faublas. Archbishop Carlo Viganò is writing again about how the Pope and the Church handle sexual misconduct allegations against Theodore McCarrick. Vigano calling on other church officials to speak out while he stays out of sight. Melissa Butts is standing by at the Vatican with the latest.
Since publishing his first letter on August 25th and his second September 27th, Archbishop Vigano has not publicly announced his whereabouts, yet he still continues to write, publishing his third letter October 19th. Archbishop Carlo Maria Viganò's third letter, in response to Cardinal Marguele's letter on October 7th, restates his main points and calls out Pope Francis yet again. However, everything still does not come together. In the third letter, he mentioned there's all this documentation. You have, documents from the settlements reached with victims in the dioceses where those claims were made. He has correspondence from nuncios in the U.S. to the Vatican, at least on 2 occasions, complaining about McCarrick or referring to some misconduct, and we're still missing that. We're still missing those memos. We're still missing the documentation. We're still missing a lot of the key facts here. So in terms of, this third letter, it doesn't really provide any new insights. Vigano says Welle concedes his important claims, but Welle's disputes are not on claims Vigano made in his letters. Vigano thus goes through each one, listing the evidence he has, which has not been officially confirmed from the Vatican. From the Vatican or from Vatican officials, I don't know that we'll see anything from anyone else. I think Vigano will continue to publish his letters. I think if somebody else does reply to him, he will continue replying from, wherever his hideout is. He's in hiding, So what this is going to continue to be is a public discussion and something that's happening in the digital sphere. He closes appealing to his brother bishops to testify to his statements. He also asserts that he's not encouraging rebellion against Pope Francis with these letters, but that he prays for the successor of Peter daily. With all this writing going on, it's important to remember that on October 6th, Pope Francis authorized the investigation of all Vatican documents relating to McCarrick. As of now, the Holy See has not found any hard evidence amidst all these accusations, but we're here and staying tuned to see what they find. At the Vatican, Melissa Butts, Currents News. Back to you in New York, Liz.
All right, Melissa, thank you very much. Archbishop Eamon Martin, the Catholic Primate of Ireland, is accusing Archbishop Viganò of hijacking August's World Meeting of Families in Dublin. On the last day of the gathering, Viganò released his first letter about the McCarrick scandal. Archbishop Martin said while he was very saddened, the Pope was serene. The latest now on a massive migrant caravan making its way through Mexico toward the U.S. border. The numbers of Central Americans on the march are growing, and President Trump is vowing action to stop the advance. Kelly Smoot reports.
More than 7,000, mostly Central American migrants, continued their march north towards the U.S. border Monday, saying they are seeking safety and better economic opportunities.
Our message is we're not criminals. We're coming over here because we want to work. We need a job. We need better, a better life. That's why we're here.
That is on top of some 3,000 Hondurans who have already quit the caravan and returned home, and the more than 1,000 who stopped their journey in Mexico, claiming refugee status there with the help of the UN's refugee agency.
Numbers will increase in the coming days to address and ensure adequate protection of information on the asylum system to members of the caravan.
But most say they plan to continue their slow march to the U.S., a more than 2,000-mile journey on foot.
This bridge, this river, they can't stop me, she says. I am an all-terrain woman.
President Donald Trump expressed his disappointment that the caravan has not yet been stopped, saying, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador were not able to do the job of stopping people from leaving their country and coming illegally to the U.S. We will now begin cutting off or substantially reducing the massive foreign aid routinely given to them. Most of the money the U.S. has promised to those countries for this year has already been spent. The scheduled 2019 foreign aid packages from the U.S. to Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador add up to more than $180 million. Kelly Smoot, Currents News.
As the caravan grows, so do the threats. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security is warning that the caravan could be exploited by criminal cartels that control most of the illegal flow of people through Latin America. The human flesh peddlers charge thousands of dollars each to smuggle migrants into America. Also tonight, there's new evidence that the killing of Saudi Arabian journalist Jamal Khashoggi was well planned. A video recorded on the day he disappeared showed another man who could be a body double outside the Saudi consulate in Turkey. Turkish investigators are saying that points to a premeditated murder. The body double would be used to deny a killing happened and to show that Khashoggi left the consulate in good health. Saudi Arabia's foreign minister is describing Khashoggi's death as a tremendous mistake. The search for a body is underway, and Nick Robertson reports the hunt for his remains is urgent.
The trail for Jamal Khashoggi's body is going cold. Video released to Turkish media over the weekend reveals the hours before his death. This as Saudi officials offer their first accounting of events.
This was an operation that was a rogue operation. This was an operation where individuals ended up exceeding the authorities and responsibilities they had. They made a mistake when they killed Jamal Khashoggi in the consulate, and they tried to cover up for it.
Where some of these consular vehicles went in the hours after Khashoggi's disappearance, still a mystery. Saudi leaks say his body given to a local collaborator. Forests and farms outside Istanbul have been at the centre of rumours his body may have been dumped there. But as yet, no evidence. On Saturday, Turkish investigators questioned consulate employees, including the Consul General's driver. But still no body. His friends demanding its return.
Give him back so that we can raise his funeral. Let the whole world watch Jamal Khashoggi's farewell, who was killed in a dark room with horrific details, and whose body is tried to be hidden.
President Trump asking too.
Somebody knows, but nobody of the various investigation groups at this moment know, but we'll find out.
The US president now beginning to question the role his Saudi ally, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, may have had in Khashoggi's death.
It's possible. You don't know that, but it's possible.
That was Nick Robertson reporting from Istanbul, Turkey. Chile's Court of Appeals ruled that 2 cardinals were part of a cover-up involving sexual abuses committed by the country's notorious predator priest, Fernando Karadima. The court found that the defendant in a lawsuit, Cardinals Francisco Errázuriz and Ricardo Azadi, along with the Santiago Archdiocese, prevented a thorough investigation of Karadima. He was recently stripped of his clerical collar. The court awarded more than $600,000 to 3 Karadima survivors. The Brooklyn Diocese has several important measures in place to help identify and prevent sexual abuse. Under the leadership of Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio, the Office of Victim Assistance has been established to help individuals who come forward with allegations of abuse. The office provides counseling, referrals for therapy, and other very important resources. Also important to note here, every employee of the diocese, including students, undergoes mandatory training designed to spot the signs of abuse and how to stop it. The bishop meets with survivors and listens to them carefully. One result of those talks is the annual Mass of Hope and Healing in the diocese. The diocese also has a toll-free and confidential sexual abuse reporting line. That number is 888-634-4499. And for more information, go to the Diocese of Brooklyn's website, dioceseofbrooklyn.org, and click on Protecting Our Children. She's a shining star of the Brooklyn Diocese, a businesswoman who welcomes the stranger.
I am a strong believer in the more you give, the more blessing you will get from God.
And for what she has given, Veronica Sang is being honored by Catholic Migration Services. Mission Sunday is when the Brooklyn Diocese recognizes students and schools for helping missionary churches worldwide. Jornada Cultural Day in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Young people bringing the faith to other young people. Some new numbers out about the global Catholic population. The Vatican releasing data on Sunday's World Mission Day showing there are 1.3 billion Catholics living on the planet. That's an increase of more than 14 million from a year ago. Altogether, Catholics make up 17.67% of the world's population, the same as last year. The Vatican cardinal responsible for spreading the faith among all people is encouraged by the news.
This is important because it means that the proclamation of the gospel has not ended. Although at times it is perceived that the enthusiasm has waned, the Pope says that life is a mission. Therefore, there are no useless lives, because each one has in itself a missionary dimension.
There has been a global decline in the number of priests, religious brothers, and religious sisters. It's that time of year when Catholic Migration Services honors the best of the best. The Shining Stars Awards recognize immigrants who make significant contributions to their communities. One person honored last Friday is Victoria Sang, a Chinese immigrant who came to the U.S. when she was a little girl and has made a big impact. Currents News' Tim Harfman has her story.
Dedicated, hardworking, and service are some of the words inscribed on awards around Veronica Seng's office in Flushing, Queens. Now, she's a Shining Star, a prestigious honor presented annually by the Brooklyn Diocese's Catholic Migration Services.
I'm pretty humbled when I was selected to be the Shining Star. At the same time, it's a great honor for me.
She's being recognized for making exceptional contributions to the church and to her community. The Shining Stars go to individuals who are active in their ethnic ministries. The Chinese Award is the only one bestowed on two people because the number of Chinese Americans in the diocese is growing so large. Veronica is the Queen's recipient, dedicated to helping those living in her community.
Hopefully, I'm able to inspire others, especially the new immigrants, to do the same.
Veronica is Executive Vice President at Cathay Bank and guided branches in Brooklyn and Queens to great success. Now she oversees operations in Cathay branches from coast to coast. She came to the United States in the late 1960s, migrating with her parents from their homeland in China. While a student at Pace University, Veronica worked her way up the corporate ladder at J.P. Morgan Chase, earning her finance and banking degree at night, and also working part-time in a supermarket.
At the time, it was all work, no play. So looking back, you know, it's hard for me to believe that I did that. I think it's because I have help from the divine intervention.
For Veronica, faith is the most important part of her life. She's active at St. Michael's Church in Flushing, serving on many committees, including the Finance Council. And she's a director on the St. Michael Catholic Academy's board.
God gave me energy and wisdom to achieve what I have accomplished. And I do believe that He's still doing this for me every single day. And I'm very grateful for that.
The Chinese American population in Brooklyn and Queens is accelerating at a rapid rate, up more than 23,000 in recent years. Veronica has good advice for her neighbors.
I am a strong believer in the more you give, the more blessing you will get from God. So therefore, give generously within your means.
And for what she has given, Veronica is a shining star. In Flushing, Queens, Tim Harfman, Currents News.
Catholic Migration Services presents the Shining Star Awards to those individuals who work towards welcoming the stranger among us into their communities. Father Patrick Keating is the CEO, and he joins us now. Father Keating, I always love having you here. It's always a great
to be here, Liz.
So you just wrapped up the second Shining Star Award dinner. Now, for those who don't know, how are the recipients selected?
So the recipients are selected by the actual community. So each of the ethnic ministries, formerly the ethnic apostolates, chooses a member or a couple from their community that they want to honor. And the criteria is basically someone who has given back, someone's really the backbone of the community, really sometimes the unsung hero. And it's people that are always there, that truly are deserving, but not what you would typically expect at a awards dinner where it's about bringing all tables in. These are people that are the backbones of the community and the church and the diocese.
And many of them, if not all of them, very selfless. So how important is it for us to celebrate them, since they probably don't celebrate themselves?
No, I think it's so important. You see, anyone who's been to the dinners, these two dinners, we had 1,000 people attend on Coney Island for 2 weeks. We can't even do it in one night. But you see the diversity of Brooklyn. You see the universality of the church. You see people getting along from different continents, different cultures, different languages, and you're honoring people that really make the difference. This is what the church is. The church is the people of God, and these are the people that give so much of their time, so much of their energies, but also preserving the uniqueness of their culture.
I've attended, and I agree that it's a very feel-good night. But your office tackles a lot of important issues, immigration being a hot-button issue in today's world. Thankfully, your office is equipped to help those in need with legal services, education programs. It can't all be free-flowing, though. What are some of the challenges that you face?
I think some of the challenges, particularly in recent years, is fear. Immigration, as you said, is a hot topic, but there's a lot of misinformation going around. There's a lot of rumors going around. Questions, people with DACA, people with TPS, just people who are citizens or applying for their green card that did a rule change. And there are rules changing. The bishop spoke of the change to the public charge, how it not only affects someone applying for a green card as citizen, but if their American-born children are receiving public benefits. And so there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of concern. And so really the attorneys, and we've been swamped, and I think any legal service provider, particularly Catholic Migration Service, has been swamped with people just wanting proper information, because there's a lot of information out there, and our attorneys want to give the correct information and give the best analysis they can.
Your office is important for that, and so is the Catholic Church, where many immigrants turn to for help and for support. How important is that?
I think it's critical for the church. We always look at the 25th chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel as the reason for Catholic migration, as well as Catholic charities, really helping the person in need, and we look at welcoming the stranger. And immigrants come to church, and it's supposed to be their home. If you look at St. Joseph's Co-Cathedral, Bishop DeMars wanted the various images of the Blessed Mother, so any immigrant group that entered would see their image of the Blessed Mother and say, this is my home. And the church is the home for, and so the diocese, by supporting Catholic Migration Services, allows us to provide the legal services that immigrants need, as well as that pastoral service to keep them united.
Let's bring this full circle. We talked about the people that you've honored, the shining stars. They're all recognized for empowering important communities. The dinner is great. How do we help them going forward throughout the year? Really quickly.
Two things I think is, just in parishes, honor and welcome all the people in the parishes. These are people coming to our church doors. Honor the various immigrant communities in the parishes. If you want to get involved with Catholic Migration Services, people can always volunteer. Someone may say they're not an attorney. We're always looking for volunteers, or someone can donate to allow us to provide the low cost and free legal services for our brothers and sisters.
Father Keating, conversations with you are always so well received and so important. Thank you so much for
Thank you, Liz.
by. More on the Diocese of Immigrants as we take a look at an important day for one of the biggest ethnic ministries in the diocese. Sunday was Polish Heritage Day. Bishop DeMarzio celebrated their Mass. The Diocese Polish Apostolate gathered to mark the 100th anniversary of Poland's National Independence Day. A Polish choir performed for the crowd as many donned the traditional Polish dress. Students and schools assisting the needy were recognized over the weekend. The annual Mission Sunday Mass Awards for students from the diocese who have raised money for missionary churches around the world. Altogether, they've been able to collect thousands. Bishop James Massa was on hand to recognize them.
In learning about the missions, they're learning about other cultures. They're learning about how the faith has been implanted in different societies, making use of the customs of different peoples, and how really faith elevates culture.
Mission Sunday is an opportunity for the clergy to gather with the students and celebrate how God has worked through them to touch the lives of many in need. Still to come on Currents News, a day of festivities and faith as Jornada Cultural Day is celebrated in Brooklyn. And Lotto fever gets even more intense with no winners. The Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots are soaring. We'll be right back. Faith and tradition mixed in with music, food, and dancing. The Jornada movement's annual Cultural Day celebration had it all. The Jornada plays a big role in the lives of young Catholics in Brooklyn and Queens. The movement is dedicated to evangelization, youth, encouraging other young people to draw closer to the church. Currents News' Katie Engesser was at a church in Sunset Park for Jornada Cultural Day.
These dances have lived for decades.
First, we're going to open up with a bachata from Dominican Republic. Then we're going to open up with a cumbia from Colombia.
And they're being performed once again at Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church in Sunset Park on Jornada Cultural Day.
Parents try to teach their kids how to follow their culture.
The Jornada is for young people, a movement very particular to the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens.
A lot of the people that are here today are children and even grandchildren of older Jornadistas.
The young Jornadistas get together once a week for spiritual direction and prayer.
We're loud and proud, we're Catholic, and we love it.
Because I come here not only to, show God's love, but also to show that we're together as a community, as different cultures.
Inside the church's parish hall on Sunday, nearly every Hispanic and Latino culture is well represented.
Here we have taquitos, from Mexico, arroz con gandules from Puerto Rico. These are all pastelitos or empanadas, how you want to call them.
While Jornada Cultural Day is a time to celebrate heritage and faith, this year there is also reflection. Puerto Rico is on the minds of many.
I'd like to dedicate this song to those who are struggling, to rebuild after Hurricane Maria.
More than a year after Maria slammed into Puerto Rico, recovery on the U.S. island from the deadly storm remains unfinished.
Why is it okay to separate a little child or any child from their parents?
The separation of families who cross the U.S.-Mexico border illegally and the possible deportation of undocumented immigrants are concerns for the young Jordanistas.
It's maybe even scary to come out as Mexican, as Ecuadorian, or however you are because of all that's going on in this country, and that sometimes disturbs our faith.
Faith is what drives the Jornada forward, enriching the Catholic belief in God from generation to generation.
And that's the beauty of this movement, is that it's passed down not just a kind of a movement and kind of the tradition of the movement, but the encounter with Christ and the receiving of that faith.
For 50 years, the Jornada movement in the Brooklyn Diocese has seen young people evangelizing other young people so that they too come to church. In Sunset Park, Katie Engesser, Currents News.
Okay, good news. There's still a chance to hit the big jackpot. No winner was declared for the Mega Millions drawing over the weekend, meaning the jackpot is now at $1.6 billion. Lottery officials say no tickets match all 6 numbers to claim the estimated $1 billion grand prize on Friday night. The next drawing is tomorrow, and with Powerball still without a winner, the total haul for both lotteries would be $2.2 billion. Good luck to all. That is Currents News. I'm Liz Faublas. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.